This is going to be another one of those different kind of videos, just the talking head ones where I kind of split some game, hopefully share some value. Basically what happens is anytime someone in the community or something, or one of the students I'm helping has a problem and I can spit some game, I'm like, oh, no, that was crazy. I think it will be really, really helpful. It's something that I forgot I struggled with. I get to see it again in the community. I'm like, okay, so if 2 people have struggled with it, or maybe 3, 4, if it keeps popping up, I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's going to help you guys. And that's when I get the motivation to be like, let me just tell you guys what I was thinking. So this particular one, this is what I want to talk about, right? So basically, this guy, we've been working together for a while. He's making crazy music. I love it. It's inspiring. It's different. It's kind of got an indie tinge to it. It's different from my own stuff. Super, super, super cool. He books in a call with me one time. We're talking and he says to me, okay, so I'm having a little bit of a writer's block. Very common. I'm making this music and then, I'll save it. And then the next day I'll make some more music. And then, I'll just keep going on like that, keep going on like that. And it's starting to feel a little bit repetitive. I don't feel like I'm having any new ideas. I don't feel very inspired. I was like, okay, that's interesting, because that speaks to me to a very specific kind of writer's block. Not the kind of writer's block where you can't come up with ideas. That's one thing. But this feeling of like, what's the point anyways? There's a very, very specific cure for it, right? And I said it to him, I'm going to say it to you. You need to be releasing your music. You need to be putting your music out into the world. I even got a little whiteboard here. This is how I want you to think of your process. If you're like a producer artist like me, this is the kind of process that I go through. And I can talk about, does that show up the right way on this camera? Yeah, just about. It's very reflective. Whatever. So this is the kind of the workflow system that I have that I go through for my tracks, right? Producing, I record my vocals on it, mixing, mastering. This part here is the part I'm focusing on today. I need you to think of it like a non-negotiable, not optional. It needs to happen. For the majority of tracks you make, for the majority of beats you make, this is an important part. And I'm going to talk about why. So my best friend, my guitarist in my band, he's an incredible producer. We kind of started producing roughly approximately the same time. I was a little bit earlier, but he was doing a lot more. So we kind of came up, and a lot of the things that I had to teach myself and a lot of the skills that I kind of transferred to you guys, we would go back and forth and we would be learning stuff together, be trying to crack that code. So I think of him as just as good a producer as me. Way, way better guitarist than me. In fact, for the guitar course that I've got coming in the community for the students, he's the one teaching that, because I can get you so far and he's just like skyrocket. Crazy at the guitar, right? And he makes primarily like pop music. He's an artist as well. So he's releasing pop music. He's light years ahead of me at that particular genre, right? He just like kills it, crushes the game. It's a really cool type of pop music. I'm thinking like Lauv, making Ed Sheeran, that's the Ian Kirkpatrick, that real complicated stuff. He's crazy with it. But you have no idea who he is, right? And we talk about this all the time. We talk about how unfair this is. Really, it's not unfair, but we talk about how crazy it is, because I still see him daily. We still talk about stuff together. And I say, look, I get this incredible opportunity to have an audience, to show you guys, to make music, to work with incredible artists, to release stuff myself, get streams, editor, all that sort of stuff, right? And he hasn't had any of those opportunities, despite having the same, if not more, talent. Why is that? It's because maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I made the decision. I was like, I'm not good enough yet, but I'm so done. I'm so bored of just making these tracks on my hard drive and leaving them there. I want to have a go at just pushing stuff out. And I released my first track. In fact, rewind even earlier than that, since 2015, right? So I've been on this production journey for like 13 years, 3 years live music, 10 years producing. Some of you detectives have probably already found the first tracks that I've made that were absolute doo-doo. They're on the internet. I'm so glad I uploaded them. Versus his technique. He is a bit more of a perfectionist. During that 6-year period that we were living together, he was working on an album while I was releasing a month every 2 months or whatever. And what happens is our paths naturally started to diverge, right? So that the external characteristics that we achieved are now vastly different, despite the talent being the same. Why is that? 3 things. And I want to emphasize that these three things don't necessarily have anything to do with like external accolades and stream numbers. That stuff really doesn't matter. That's not really a strong motivation to try and achieve anything. I don't think that's the best reason to be releasing. I'm gonna get so deep now, but whatever. At no point do you feel like the streams or the numbers are gonna be like enough. Do you know what I mean? So like the external stuff, it doesn't really matter. I want to try and convince you that you should be releasing for you, from an artistic place internally. Here's why you need to be doing it. Reason number one, you need to put your music, your beats, your tracks, your songs, whatever you're making, you need to put it in a place where you can't touch it again. Okay. You need to have a rule that says this is done. Okay. It's very difficult to have that in this day and age, in our DAW world. If you've got your tracks on your hard drive, you can just open it up again. You know you can. You open up a beat that you made 3 years ago. You're like, I knew those drums were trash. Let me tweak. Think about this psychology for a moment, right? I mean, everyone's used to the idea of picking up old beats, reworking them, etc., 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 etc. It's amazing, and it also goes counter to the idea of releasing and finishing things, right? If you actually look at that beat, it could take you 4 or 5 years to finish. There's not a problem with that, but you need to get into a habit of being able to say, okay, now it's done, of releasing things, of letting things go. It's tough. It's tough because as you learn new things, you want to go back and tweak. You want to go back and tweak forever. But it gets into this issue. It gets into this internal cycle where you feel like you can't finish tracks. You can't finish tracks because there's always another thing that can be done. So what you need to be able to do, this is so important, right? So this is what happened for me. You may be experiencing this as well. I would be working on a track. It might take me a while to to develop that track. And while I'm developing that track, I'm learning new skills. So I learn the new skills, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, now I know how to do drums better. Let me go back and redo the drums. You could never finish that track. You could end up tweaking until you're bored of it, it's stale, and then the song's no longer hitting. What you should be doing is put out that track. At the end of it, it's probably going to feel like you could actually make something better. You're like, now with the skills I know now, I could probably make that track that I released better. But what you need to do is pour all those skills that song gave you and put it to a new track. Go through that entire process again, that whole production, mixing, mastering, releasing process entirely on an entirely new thing, to keep the mind fresh, to keep the ideas fresh, to find out how these ideas work in different contexts, right? So that you can be like a river that flows through ideas instead of a lake that's got stagnant water where you're working on the same track forever. You think you're developing skills, ideas, and abilities, but it's on the same song. Doesn't feel like progress. Okay, that's one. Number two is you need to be able to let the new ideas in. Okay, so in this period where me and my mate were living together, I was doing that same thing. I'm kind of working on new tracks, trying to develop new sounds. And the thing is, when you've got new tracks that you can create, you have the opportunities to experiment, right? You have more opportunities to be like, what happens if I try this genre? For this particular track, I'm going to try this plugin, etc. There's new opportunities to add to your arsenal in a unique way. Contrast that with my mate's idea. So when I was releasing these singles, he decided to go for an album. Really cool album, great concept, great ideas around it. And he had these songs which were bangers, really. Like the inspiration he was getting was really cool for them. The issue was he felt like, because he was working on this body of 6 songs, he had that writer's block where he felt like he would feel guilty starting to make new tracks. He would be closed off to the idea of having new ideas. He's like, I don't want to play with I can't play with new plugins now because it's just going to move me further away from the tracks that I've already made. You know what I mean? Like, no, this track has already got the guitars in, so it's a waste of time for me to start learning new guitar chords now. I need to finish these songs, etc. You do that, and eventually it's the same thing. You don't get as many opportunities to let new ideas in. And that's super powerful because you give yourself license to grow, right? So you have to do this just so even you can breathe a sigh of relief and just be like, that track was a while. That track was maybe a 3-week project. and now I'm in an inspiration phase. Now I'm in an absorbing phase. This is something that's actually super, super cool. It's different from my approach, but it's his approach after he kind of adopted this lifestyle, right? So he would go for a period where he would maybe write 1 or 2 songs, focus, lock in, release them, finish them. And then what we would have is like a 2-3 week period of just absorbing inspiration from everywhere he could find it. Like he'd go for walks and birds would inspire him, new plugins, new YouTube tutorials, and he's soaking up all this information. And he had a notebook where he'd be like just brain dumping things onto this page, right? Letting those ideas in. And then once he's ready to make a new song, he's got this entire collage of ideas that he's been inspired by, and he can just pump out fire. That's super cool. But if you're entirely locked in on a single song that you have not finished, you won't find the opportunities to let those new ideas in. That is super important. And number 3, I'm so glad I get to tell you guys this, because this one would have led me, like, it would have done me straight up. Releasing is a skill too, okay? Marketing is a skill. Putting your tracks out there is a skill. If you don't know how to put your tracks on Spotify, you've got to learn. It's not difficult, but you've got to look up a YouTube tutorial, I can tell you. You've got to find out at some point, right? You might as well find out earlier, give you the best opportunity to get to where you want to be. So when you are making the fire music that you love, that you feel like need to get the recognition, you have the marketing tools in your tool belt to be like, yeah, I know I can give it the recognition that it deserves. Whether that's making the content, running the ads, pitching the playlists, putting it on BeatStars, building the YouTube channels, all of that sort of stuff like that. Those are things that you also want to grow as well, because they take time. Just as how your skills develop, you don't want to get your skills all the way up to here and be like, okay, now I've got to start whatever channel that I want to from here. I don't want, now my Spotify starts at 0. Now my da-da-da-da starts at 0. It's way better, more efficient and more rewarding to have them grow simultaneously. So as you develop your skills, what you'll find is that more opportunities will come your way on the channel. I'm a great example of this. You can take the music, because like I said, the detectives will be able to find the tracks that I started releasing in 2015 on SoundCloud. They're doo-doo, but they got 3 plays. And like 3 plays to me was crazy, and it was very inspiring, and it gave me the motivation to make more. But I have the same philosophy with this channel, where if you check my earlier videos, they're not as good, they're not as clean, especially the ones before I kind of found this format, before I kind of found the making of the music and all of that sort of stuff. The format's not as good, but it gave me enough traction, it gave me enough kind of reinforcement, enough like positive reinforcement from you guys saying that you liked it and appreciated it, to be like, yeah, let me keep going. Let me keep getting better. Let me find out what this YouTube thing's all about. Do you know what I mean? And now it's another skill that I get to be able to develop and show you guys. One of the only things I regret is I wish I'd started and been more active and consistent with it earlier, right? So this is what I'm trying to make sure that you guys do now. Those are the 3 reasons. I hope at least one of them resonated with you. And now here's a common objection I hear. You're probably saying, Raya, this all sounds great. Put my music out. Yeah, it's sweet. But my music's not ready yet. I'm not quite there. I know I'm not quite fire. I just need to wait till I've got this. I just need to wait till I understand this. I just need to wait till I know what I'm doing in this regard. And then I promise you, Raya, I'm going to start my thing. To that, I have a rebuttal of 2 things. Number 1, I'm biased, but that's what I'm here for. If you don't know, like, check out the link in the description. That's what I do. I'm a coach, I'm a teacher. So I help people. What I like to do is, for my students, I'm teaching them how to make R&B, so that when they are ready to release, and I'm helping them with that as well, they feel like they can put their best foot forward. They know that they've kind of got a quality sound, and when they have questions, they can just ask, so they can kind of skip some of the hurdle phases. Even if the coaching is not for you, stay in that YouTube grind set. See if you can find a community. I've got a community. There's Discord, places out there where you can find qualified musicians. I'm going to make another video about this, but qualified musicians that you respect, who are making music that you respect. Let them give you advice and stay developing. Point number 2, your music is doo-doo. It's okay. Release anyways. This is one of the scariest things for people to do, right? Release anyways. And here's what I'm going to tell you. You might find it reassuring. You might find it scary as hell. No one cares. If your music's doo-doo and you don't have an audience and you don't have like millions of streams or millions of accolades, you don't have millions of eyeballs on you, then there is nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose, everything to gain from putting your music out there. And what happens is exactly what I kind of spoke about previously. As you get better and as your skills of releasing get better, things happen that allow you to grow more. You develop resources, you develop the audience, and they grow together. And what you'll find, in some cases, you'll find that your music is way better than you thought. In more cases than you think, you'll find that even if you think your music's trash, there's still an audience for it. And 3, you're going to love this. When you eventually do get to however long you stay in the game, you're going to be so grateful. I'm so grateful I did this. You're going to be so grateful that you can go back to see where you started and you can look back and be like, yeah, earlier Raya put in the work. Earlier Raya started with those trash beats. We stayed doing this and we're still doing this. Maybe you found me recently. You found me 13 years into my music career. 13 years, okay? So I'm so glad I'm 26, 13-year-old Raya picked up the guitar, did all of his things that he was doing to get to where I get to be now. Because if I had to learn all of those skills now, if I had to start releasing from day .0 right here, even with all my music skills, I would find it very, very difficult. So release now. And the last caveat I'm going to put on this is I've been using the word release, right? If you're an artist, that kind of makes sense. If you're a producer, same thing. Open your BeatStars account, open your SoundCloud, open your whatever place that it is that you can just place a full stop on your work and move on to the next one that counts, okay? Unlisted YouTube channel, okay? I basically want you to start a catalog, a place where you don't touch your things. It's even better if it's public, but the main thing is a place where you don't touch your things anymore. It's where you put your finished work, okay? So give it a try. Be brave. It's scary. If you want any help developing your skills and getting you to that point where you feel confident pushing that publish button, check the link in the description. That is exactly what I'm helping people do. But if you feel like you're there, take the jump. Let me know if any of this resonated with you. I'm planning to make a lot more of these. In fact, while I was writing this, like a little script down for this, I had another thought and I was like, oh, I need to tackle that as well. So I've got plenty of gems. I feel like they might be helpful because there's not a lot of stuff out there on the YouTube game talking about this sort of thing. And I wish I'd known about them earlier. So let me know if you like this style of video. I appreciate you guys. I will catch you in the next one. But for now, peace out.